Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll do my best.
Thank you. In the meanwhile, I will share the rubric, so you are watching at it. I don't know if it stays there. Professor, do you know? I haven't used breakout groups, but I will try to leave the rubric there so you can see it.
Yeah, I think you have to share it in the main room, like where we are now, and
Right.
then they can go to the separate breakout rooms. They can share anything, but within the small group.
Okay, maybe I can upload it to the to Teams in archives if that works.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, I can
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
great. Good idea. In the meantime, I'm going to invite the rest of the students because I have no idea if we start with the breakout rooms immediately, they will be able to enter a room. Now, I understand that we need to do this according to who they are working with. Um, so,
Yes, should be like
right,
that.
Camilo, who are you working with?
Camino's working with me, teacher.
With Nelson, Professor.
Is all right. So Camilo and Nelson, that's one group. Jolie, are you? Is your classmate? Is your partner here?
Yeah, I think yes, it's him, teacher. It's William Gonzalez.
Alrighty. So we got two rooms. Fernanda, is your partner here?
No, teacher, my partner is not here.
Okay. But you do have one, Fernanda.
Hmm?
You have one partner. You already.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Gabriela, do you have a partner?
Yes, yes. Diana
Oh,
Marin.
Diana Marin. Okay, she's here. So at least I guess five uh, rooms. So Miss Sophia, what do you
Yes,
think?
yes, I think we can work with that. I just uploaded the rubric, so it is under archives, archivos, so you can find it there if it's faster than maybe logging into the LMS. But yes, Professor Bruno, if you think maybe we can start.
All right. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I created the rooms, but then
Maybe it's easier to do it in Zoom.
yeah, it could be. It could be easier. Um,
Mm,
let me get rid of this.
do you? Okay, so let's try to see it this way. You already shared the breakout groups, right, Professor? So
Yes, in the
for
morning. Maybe
yes,
what you could do now, in the
mm-hmm.
meantime, it could be to go over the rubric in case
Okay,
there might be
yes,
any comments.
yes. Let me open it again and share the
Thank you so
screen.
much.
No worries. So maybe they can see it in equipos or actividad. Do you know that not the rubric, the groups? Because sometimes happens when a professor or someone puts you into breakout groups, it shows in actividad. So maybe they can see it there, or maybe not, or maybe not, or maybe in chat or equipos. So if you're able to see it, but I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen, my screen. Yes, so there it is. Can you see it? I think it's really small. Can you see this, the rubric?
Yes, miss.
It's really small, right? Are you able to read or not? Yes? Okay, great. So we have here the rubric. So we have the categories, and within the categories, we can find first the vowels. So 4 points would be pronounces vowels correctly all the time. Okay. Then 3 points would mean that you pronounce vowels correctly most of the time. Then we have 2 points for makes inconsistent vowel errors. And lastly, we have 1 point that means that you pronounce several vowels incorrectly consistently. Then we have the same, but for consonants. And you need to pay attention that vowels has an X and a 2. So it means that the score that you get under that category would be multiplied for 2. Then we have consonants. And it says 4 points if you pronounce consonants correctly all the time. And it's pretty much the same that we had for vowels, but for consonants in this case. Then you have word stress. This is a slightly different, but it's also multiplied for 2. So if you get 3 points, that will be multiplied for 2. So first we have 4 points if you place a stress on the right syllable of multisyllabic words all the time. That would be the maximum. Then we have places a stress on the right syllable of multisyllabic words most of the time correctly, but misplaces in few words. Then we have places a stress on the right syllable of multisyllabic words most of the time, but misplaces it on several words. And lastly, misplaces a stress of multisyllabic words too many times, affecting the comprehension of the message. And that would be 1 point. So the minimum. Then we have content mastery, which is really relevant as well because it is also multiplied for 2. And it says the maximum says that demonstrates full mastery of the contents, then analyzes samples using technical jargon, and provides enough detail and or examples to support his or her answer. Then we have 3 points if you are able to demonstrate full mastery of the contents, analyze sample, use technical jargon. However, she or he does not provide enough detail and or examples to support his or her answer. And then we have demonstrates some mastery, so not fully or completely mastery of the contents, but provide answers that are only partially correct. A great deal of his or her answers are either inaccurate or much of the information required is omitted. And lastly, we have 1 point, and this happens when you are unable to provide evidence of knowledge. So students fail to analyze samples and or provide irrelevant examples. Then we have extension. The extension of the student's report excels the amount of output necessary to assess his or her pronunciation. He or she does not need prompts to be assessed. Then we have 3 points, and that would be the extension of the student's answers excels the amount of output, complies with the necessary amount to assess his or her pronunciation. He or she does not need prompts to be assessed. Then for 2 points, we have the extension of the student's report is sufficient to assess his or her pronunciation, although he or she needs prompts at time to be assessed. And lastly, we have the extension of the student's report is insufficient to assess his or her pronunciation. He or she needs prompts to be assessed. Then we have connected speech, the last 2 items here. Connected speech, which says that in order for you to get 4 points, you would have to apply features of connected speech effectively all the time. Then for 3 points, if you are able to apply those features effectively at times, not all the time, but at times. Then we have applies features of connected speech inconsistently, and that would grant you 2 points. And lastly, we have does not apply features of connected speech, which would mean that you are not really able to use features of connected speech. Then we have intonation patterns. And to get 4 points, you would have to be able to apply tonality, tonicity, and tone effectively all the time. To get 3 points, you would have to be able, to apply tonality, tonicity, and tone effectively most of the times. Then to get 2 points, you would have to demonstrate some inconsistent application of tonality or tonicity and tone. So this would affect the quality of the message at times. So you would get 2 points. And lastly, if you are not able to apply tonality, tonicity, and tone in your report effectively, and many times intonation patterns affect the communication. So in that case, you would get only 1 point. Any questions regarding the rubric? So the main idea is that you get only 4s, but try to do your best. Try to do your best. Don't put excess of stress under your head, or no, I mean on you. But do pay attention. You have to pay attention which ones are the ones that are multiplied. The points are multiplied. Which categories? So vowels, word stress, content mastery are really important, because it would give you, for instance, let's imagine that in extension you only get 2 points. You can improve that in your word stress or vowels by having a better, having more points in there. So yes, any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
Miss, I have one.
Yes.
If we use contractions, it is considered as informal.
I'm not really sure, Professor Bruno. Do you have an opinion on this? Because I think it depends. If is this Professor Bruno considered like a really formal event, or what do you think?
It's okay to use contractions whenever you are providing examples of the different dialects. Many dialects use contractions or do not conjugate some verbs. For example, instead of saying she is playing, in some dialects like African American vernacular, they say she be playing. So it's okay to use that, but whenever you are analyzing the samples, you are expected to use a more, not formal, but since it's an academic situation, you're expected not to use constructions unless you are referring to the dialects themselves, and the constructions are part of the examples. Is that
Yeah,
is
right.
it clear?
It was, yeah, because it was regarding the connect speech, because we saw contractions, but we can use it. But now it's clear.
All right.
Great,
All right.
great. Thank you, Professor. Were you able,
Mhm.
Professor, to sort out the breakout groups thing? Yes.
I was working on. Can you listen to me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. All right. I was working on it, but I'm able to assign only one student. I tried with Camilo, with Diana. I don't know if you were sent to a different room,
No.
but no. Okay. So that's what I was trying to do, assign manually, because if I do it automatically, you get to work with someone else. I mean, not from someone that you're
Right.
going to be working with for
Like a
right for
random
the
person.
exactly.
Yes.
So I was
Professor,
yeah, I was
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go on, go on.
go ahead.
No,
No,
I
no.
was gonna suggest that maybe we could go to meets, but I don't know if that could be like the last option. So maybe you can try another thing before.
Uh, sure. Can you do that in Meet?
No, that's why I was saying it's the last option, because I have tried all of this before, and that is why I usually ask them to send the link. But that is really it causes a lot of trouble to ask them to send the link. So that would be, I would say, the very last option. But I don't really know. Maybe I thought you could know how to do it on Meets. Yes. So maybe no.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I have the subgroups, but I'm not sure if if you can pick a room. I've got room 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you see the rooms? Can you see the options?
It should appear for them, because I remember that when I was taking classes, lots of time we were assigned to breakout groups, sorry, here in Teams, and it would appear on activity or on Teams or equipos, actividad or equipos, could appear there, but I cannot see it. Maybe the ones that you already put into groups could see it there. So try to check actividad or equipos. Maybe you can see breakout groups there. Do you see something, guys? So I don't know, Camilo, I know, is there?
No,
Nothing?
en equipos, a ser en español. Por lo menos no me sale nada. Y en
Okay.
actividades tampoco, lo normal.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to check out Zoom because I usually open the app, but something is going on today that I'm not getting the app open, and I need to go and reestablish, you know, the password, etc., etc., etc. So not an option anyway. Well, but I'm trying to get Zoom working. Apparently, all right. I think I got it here.
Yeah, I was looking at Zoom as well, and I cannot see the option.
Okay, I got a link to Zoom. I don't know if you get it. If you got it in the
In the chat box? Yes, I would say it
Yeah.
is. Let me check. Yes, there it is. So you can find it in the chat of under general. It's Zoom.
I think that the professor can like do different like subgroups in teams, because with other teacher, I'm going to say in Spanish, con otros profes tenemos como team A, team B dentro de la clase entera, como subgrupos.
Yes, I actually think that's an option only for professors, for teachers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I created subgroups in my literature class, but they were random groups. So there were groups of 3 to 4 students, but then they were not working together previously. So that's why I haven't tried this option of having subgroups in which groups were already formed before, and I really, yeah, I really don't know how to fix this, because I can automatically assign groups, but that's not the idea.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, unless I can switch you from one group to others. Let me try that. Um, I'm going to create rooms here, and then I'm going to ask if you can join these rooms, and I'm going to ask you, first of all, Gabriela, you're working with Diana, that's what you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to to go to the rooms, and then I'm going to move you according to your options. Sorry. So obviously the experiment the experiment failed. All right. Obviously, uh, wasn't
We were
successful.
taken
So
we were taken to other rooms. Yes, I was in room 2 with Diana, but I was trying to add Gabriela. I think Diana is working with Gabriela. I was trying to add Gabriela, but I wasn't. I didn't have that option. It didn't.
okay.
But you succeeded in dividing us into other groups.
Yes, yeah, I basically what I did in the morning, but then I didn't try in the morning to move participants from one room to others. So that's what I wanted to try now. Thank you for uh, giving me the option to try, but wasn't so is everyone here or still
I'm here.
okay, all right. So did you get the message from Zoom?
Yes, and your share screen on Zoom.
Okay. All right. So and do we have the option in Zoom to
I think there is an option, but I'm not sure how. Because the first time I tried it with Zoom, and a second year student sent me a video, but the video didn't work. So I think that the option exists, but I don't really know how to use it.
for Zoom?
For Zoom, yes. It also
Uh,
exists for Google Meets, but I also don't really know how to use it.
Yeah, I was using Zoom for working with subgroups for breakout rooms, but then somehow, I mean, after I finished working, um, it was asking me for the password again, and
Mm,
now I think I have like more basic uh, type of
functions, right?
Zoom.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
basic functions, and I'm looking for the options to create subgroups, and then they are not here. So many options are not never knew when it happened. I think I stopped using Zoom for a while, and then it suddenly changed.
Hmm.
Okay, let's Miss Sofia Gallardo. Why don't
Yes.
we take all the questions that may these wonderful students have about the presentation
Yes, and try to answer them in the meanwhile, for sure.
in here? Yes.
Yes, so I'm gonna try to share again the screen and put the rubric so we have possible questions there.
Right.
So does anyone have any question regarding the task itself? So now we have already mentioned that, as Camilo asked, try not to use contractions unless you are I mean using examples of the type of accents or the slang, or but try not to use it on your specific speech, because it should be academic, and that academic language, let's say, does not use contractions, right? I'm gonna share the screen now so we can see again the rubric. So screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, Camilo sent us an image before, but yes, about the groups that he has on ELT126, but I don't think that worked for us. So let's focus on the questions that you might have. So this is the moment, guys. If you have, I know Jolie had some questions. Jolie, if you want to ask, it doesn't really matter if it is only related to the dialect that you chose, because it could help someone else. So if you want to ask those questions now, that would be perfect.
Well, as I have mentioned before, I'm going to investigate. Like my dialogue is going to be like about Jamaican English,
yes.
right? Yes. And as while I was investigating about this English, I knew that they speak English in Jamaican, but they use like a different type of language. I mean, they have
Their own
they have
language.
created, exactly, they have created their own language that's called Creole, I think, or patois. It's called patois. And while
Yes, patois.
I was investigating, yes, while I was investigating, I don't know if I have to investigate like about patois, talk about patois in my presentation, or the English that they use in Jamaican, because in my investigation I discovered that they do speak English in Jamaica, but with different accents. Like for example, if a Jamaican is talking right now here, you may be able to understand some of the word he or she is saying, but not all, right?
Yes.
And I was kind of lost in that part because the language they use there is like is patois, right?
Okay.
But
So my
but they say
suggestion
that
would be, sorry, go on.
no, it's okay. Just go ahead.
Okay, sorry again. I always interrupt you. So my suggestion here would be that you use the English, and then if they speak another language, you could mention it, as it says in the second point. Let me use the pen so you can see. So it says, how many languages are spoken in that country. So maybe, okay, my suggestion would be to use English, but I don't know if.
Maybe I can share my screen with you, and you
Yes.
can read
Let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing so you can share with us. Okay.
That's so embarrassing.
Don't worry. So maybe, okay, this is my suggestion, but maybe Professor Bruno has an opinion on this, and maybe he can say that it's best for you to use their own language, but I would say English. I don't know if Professor Bruno, you have anything to say regarding this or any comments?
Yeah, well, this is a very personal choice. In this sense, I want you, Jolly, to be very confident in that whatever the choice you make, it's your choice because it's something that you want to talk about. I would say that Jamaican Standard English is, even though the official language of the country, I think it's, for me, for my person, if you ask me, if I were you and I have to do the this comparative analysis, I would choose Jamaican Patois because Creole is this a vehicle, a linguistic vehicle that the natives of a place had to communicate with sometimes colonizers or invaders, with people coming from a foreign country. So there was this combination of languages that created the Creole, not only in Jamaica but in many different countries in which that became colonies of specific powers, like not only Britain but also Italy, Belgium, France, right? So I would go and try to find out examples of Jamaican patois. At least for me, it sounds very interesting because of changes in not only pronunciation but also grammar and vocabulary. So you got many things to talk about Jamaican patois, and so as you have a lot of information, probably you should filter what you consider to be most relevant. This report is only for 10 minutes. Therefore, you need to keep a balance between what you are going to say and what your partner is going to say. So you have enough time to make at least one comparison between these two dialects. So whatever
Yeah,
you feel it's more interesting for you, I would take that direction.
yeah, I totally agree with you, and I want to thank you for that because with that piece of information that you have just said, I can see that I'm in the right way. So, for example, it's like this kind of the information that I have been preparing. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yes, it's there.
Yes, this is kind of
Mm-hmm.
where I would like to introduce like Jamaica is an island nation in Caribbean with a population only of around 3 million people. You can see that in the screen, right? So it's like a introduction, like to know to introduce to speak to talk about Jamaica. Then I have other information here. Maybe you can read it. It's good. It would be faster for you. And let me know if you are reading. If you don't, to show you the other thing that I have.
Yes, I think we are reading, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm. This is very interesting because Jolly is going to address the language from. He's going to talk about a concept that it's dealt with in linguistics, which is pidgin, that we can see somewhere here in which line? Pidgin. That's that sort of the first type of communication between two different cultures because they need to communicate. Because of these two cultures are colliding or clashing, so or for economic reasons. So there's this pidgin is the first basic rough language, only words and signs and gestures. But then after pidgin, the next step is Creole. So it's going to be very interesting from a linguistic point of view. That dealing with Jamaican Creole. And I think there could be another linguistic variation that also has to do with Creole and not a standard version of English in a different country. So looks very good. Now, remember to, okay, here's the vocabulary thing. All right.
Yes. Here I have like the vocabulary, like for example, in Jamaica, for example, in British English or in American English, we say somebody. In Jamaican, they say some. I don't know how to read it in Jamaican, but it's like it sounds like that. Somebody. I don't know how to pronounce that, but
That's fine. I would say it's like Somadi. Somadi.
Then I have the grammar, how they like use the grammar there. It's like, for example, it's like in the same in English. Like for example, this is mean like me. This mean like I, and chat mean like speak is the verb, and that part is like the name of the language, like they call patois, right? And then I have some, this one I'm going to try to reduce it. I have like the pronoun they use and the other thing, and also I have like the pronunciation, but I haven't typed it, but I have it in my notebook. I could notice also that there are some specific like sound they don't use in Jamaican patois. Like for example, the interdental sound, they don't use this specific sound in Jamaican patois in pronunciation instead of pronunciation. So I will have to investigate a little bit further about that. I think they should be more, they have more sound or a specific word they don't use, like for example that we use in American and British and other languages, like I don't know, Australia. They don't use those kind of words in Jamaican patois. But I could discover as well in this investigation that they say that they use like this kind of language patois. Like for example, the people who use that is like people who's work those people who work in village. I don't know how to say campo. I think it's village or town. Those people who campesino. This is the word I'm looking for. But for like to communication, they use English, but with their own like vocabulary, their own.
It's like modified, right?
Process, exactly, phonological process and etc. So I don't know,
really
maybe
interesting.
Yeah, maybe if I don't know if I'm following the line that the teacher said that we have to talk about. I know that I have to compare that with the other language that my partner will talk about, right? So that's why we choose like one language in the first circle and other language in the second circle, like they use it like a second language.
Correct.
So maybe
that I would say, Julie, that you're in the right track or right path. It looks really good, and you actually sound really excited, so that's really good as well. Professor Bruno sent you 2 links on the chat box, so maybe you can check them. They are about examples of Jamaican English, as I can said in the link. I have a couple of recommendations for all of you, I would say, and it's not really strictly related with the contents that you will be talking, but mostly about the way that you will present something and about teamwork. So I would suggest you first to be, as Professor Bruno, sometimes we have a lot of information. Try to be try to leave only the relevant, as he mentioned before, because that is correct. Sometimes we tend to speak a lot, and maybe we're what would be said in Spanish as yéndonos por las ramas, and that could result in not a great in our speaking. But the main suggestion I would like to give you is that try to be a good team partner or a good partner, and try to use and divide fairly the time, because sometimes happens that my partner is speaking 6 minutes and I have 4 minutes left to speak, or maybe I am speaking 8 minutes and I only leave my partner 2 minutes to speak. So let's try to be fair with the time. Let's try not to be mean is not the word, but let's try to be empathetic maybe, and be fair with our time. So if you are able to divide it 5 minutes and 5 minutes, that would be amazing, I would say. But try to be fair. So that would be one of two of the suggestions that I could give you, not specifically about the task itself, but about teamwork that could help you in the future as well. And that's for all of you, of course. And yes, any other question, Jolie, or any questions from anyone in the group? We are only 7 now in the meeting, but any questions?
I have a question regarding to the connected speech.
Okay.
Do we have to talk with these features?
Let me show you again the rubric. I would say that it is natural that you use features of connected speech in your speech, because when you're speaking, you sometimes do elision, sometimes assimilation, and they happen naturally. But yes, so the idea is that you apply the features of connected speech effectively, either at all times if you're able to do it. If not, if you're nervous, that which happens, could be effectively only at times. So it says here that you're able to apply it effectively. I would say that it is important for you to use it on your speech, but don't stress too much over it, because I think it is natural. It's natural. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you.
No worries. Sounds delayed, right? Or am I the one listening to it?
It
Okay,
does.
maybe. Yes, sounds weird, but okay. So thank you, Professor. But yes, so I would say you need to apply it, and don't stress too much over it, because it most of the time sounds natural. But if you can incorporate it and plan to use it, you are making sure that you are actually using it on your speech. So that would be great. Any other questions? Professor Bruno.
Just to clarify, or actually to confirm what Ms. Gallardo is saying, it's basically the idea of features of connected speech. When you speak, when you connect the words, naturally there's a rhythm. So if the speech is connected, actually it's going to flow. So don't stress out about trying to sound or trying to make your speech connected, because mainly I guess that it's going to become, in terms of features of kinetic speech, more about linking, because essentially we link words when we speak fluently. So we connect consonant to vowel sounds or vowels to consonant sounds. And then it's also a lot about elision, because we tend to elide sounds at some point. But don't worry if you don't want to or cannot make, I don't know, features like coalescence or I don't know, they just come up naturally, as Miss Sophia was saying, Miss Sophia Gallardo. So it's all right. Don't stress out about that. Don't be too conscious about producing connected speech, because the more conscious you are, probably the more nervous you're going to get, and eventually you're going to focus less on the other aspects that are content mastery, for example, or stress. I don't know. So just let it go. All right, just go with it.
Yes, thank you, Professor. Exactly. That's as Professor said. It is important not to stress over a specific thing, because sometimes we leave aside things that are sometimes even more important than just pronouncing the features of connected speech properly or effectively. Try to focus maybe on content. Be sure, sound that sound like you know what you're talking about. I think that's important, as important as pronunciation. So yes, any other questions? Any comments?
Teacher, it doesn't matter if I don't know how to pronounce, like, for example, a word in Jamaican, right? Because I do not know. I can provide example, but I don't know how to pronounce the word that they use in the language.
Jolie, maybe what you could do is try to, because what happens when I don't know a word, the advantage that you have here is that you know the words that you will talk about, right? So you know that you will use for example, the example somebody. You know that you will use that example. You could search on YouTube the pronunciation of that word. It could appear. Now, that would be my suggestion. So you have time, and you have to your advantage that you know the words that you will be using. You are the one choosing, sorry, those words. So I would recommend you to look at the maybe transcriptions, or maybe a easy way for you to remember how they are pronounced. But I'm sure that you will be able to find them online, on YouTube maybe, or on Google. So try to look at for them. If you are still not able to pronounce them, I think it is almost I wouldn't like to say almost impossible, but it's really difficult to pronounce all these foreign words that are foreign to us correctly, right? It would change, but try to have the right idea of how those words are pronounced, and you know the words, so you can search them up. That would be my recommendation. If you, after you search them, you are still not able to know how to pronounce them, I don't think that's a really big problem. I would say that it's a big problem is you, for instance, if you are providing I mean, wrong information, or maybe you don't sound sure of what you're talking about, or you know that there are worse things than not knowing how to specifically pronounce a word in a foreign language. So try to look for the words, do your best, but if not, I don't think that would be a really terrible instance, right? I don't know if Professor Bruno has an opinion on this. Maybe, but yes. So that would be my recommendation to you. Yes.
Thank you, Miss.
No
Yeah.
worries. Professor Bruno, would you like to say something, or you was it a coincidence that you unmuted your microphone?
Not really. It's basically the same. I mean, you're expected to do some research at this level, at the college level, just like you did when you were in high school or elementary. Type of research from a different, of course, a different level. But since you know the topic. I mean, you know the task. You know what the task is about. You will have time to do the research. Probably you want to keep the examples that you are very sure how to pronounce them, or that you found an audio link, or you have the recording, so you can very briefly play the recording if you don't know how to pronounce it. So you show evidence that you were very careful when designing your presentation, because either you know how to pronounce the example, or you were able to find the type of recording that could explain or portray the pronunciation of this. So the idea is that, because we're not forcing you to find a specific words or vocabulary. It's you, the one who are going to be selecting the material and defining which is more relevant for your presentation, right?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I didn't know that I could include the audio. So that's perfect.
I think you can, but try to make it short, Julie, because if you include an audio, perhaps it will take time from your presentation, or perhaps from your partner's presentation. So try to make it really short and precise. Maybe use an audio if you really cannot pronounce the example. Maybe. I know Fernanda was raising her hand. Do you have any questions, Fernanda?
Yeah, but you actually already answered the question. Had already answered it. I was going to ask you if I could include audios, but you.
Great. Perfect timing then. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
thank you.
Do you have any other questions, anyone? Nope. Should we close the session, or Professor, do you have anything else to mention?
Yes, the possibility of using audios is there for you, but as Ms. Gallardo mentioned, you've got to be sure that they are short. Um, Therefore, when you start sharing your presentation, for example, you need to make sure that you start sharing the audio as well. Because if
Yes.
you're going to start, yeah, you're going to stop your presentation to share the audio again, it's going to take up of your time. Um, you need to make sure that if you have the audios in the presentation, what if the audios in the presentation don't work? You need to have a folder with the audios ready, open for you to use those audios in that folder in case, I'm sure you're going to test if the audios work before, right, while you are preparing your presentation. But then always the what if, Murphy's law, what if it doesn't work? So have a folder open with the audios just in case they don't work from the PowerPoint presentation. So you can click on them in the folder and you can play the recording. Okay, so that's and also, I mean, in the last option, what if they don't work either? Well, you try your best and you read the samples aloud yourself, right? So always try to
Yes.
have a backup plan.
Yes. Also remember that both of you should have everything that will be in the presentation. So, for instance, Jolie, in your case, uh, be sure that you and William both have the audios or both have the presentation. So, just in case that something happens, and if maybe you didn't get to catch it, but what Professor was saying at the very beginning of what he said is that when you are given the option to share your screen, remember to share the audio as well, because sometimes we are kind of nervous or we are in a rush and we just share the screen, but the audio is not included. So remember that. And Camilo, do you have a question?
Yeah. It's wondering, can we use videos as today's presentation?
I think it would be the same as in the audios, that audios are both included in this. I would say you could, but remember the same things that we just mentioned. Remember that it could be time consuming to play a video. It could signify or could mean that you are losing time of your own presentation. But yes, Professor Bruno is sharing his screen. Yes, I would say, Camilo, that you could show videos as in the class that we did today, um, but try not to because remember that you will be evaluated on your speaking or you speaking, not on a video playing, right? So try not to waste a lot of time, let's say, with a video. Try to make it short. Okay,
Okay, it's
great.
clear. Thank you.
No worries. Julie, you had your hand up. Are you
was
there?
a, it was a mistake, miss.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay, no problem. Professor Bruno, what are you showing us? What are
Oh,
we
sorry,
seeing?
sorry. I was trying to share. I was taking a look at some maps, They can also provide like a general context for the expansion of English. And I completely agree and I support what Ms. Gallardo said. You are the birthday boy, the birthday girl. It's all about you when you give your presentation. If you use videos or audio, I mean recordings, right? It's totally fine. But we're all interested about you and how you speak in for this matter. Okay, so whenever you use resources like videos or recordings, make sure that they are very specific, that you use this to exemplify one aspect, like, for example, a phrase, a structure, a kind of vocabulary, whatever you are describing, right? You show these as an example very briefly, but not show a video and put a guy to explain what you can explain yourself. Okay, use a video because you want to give an example that is going to complement what you're saying. So that's something that I completely agree with Ms. Gallardo. So keep that in mind, right? That's all on my part.
Oh, okay. Are you sharing your screen to show us something, or was it okay? Okay. So I would say that's it for today, for today's lesson. Do you have any questions before we close the session? Okay. Again, as usual, you know that if you have any questions, you can write us an email, or contact us through the different platforms the LMS could be. So yes, I think that would be it for today. Have a lovely rest of the afternoon, of the day. So any questions, you know where to find us. Thank you for participating today, and have a lovely day.
You too, Miss.
You too,
Bye
miss.
bye.
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 Bye, teacher.
Goodbye, y'all.
Bye
I'll see
bye.
you. See you then. You all take care.
You too.